Tropical storm Debby bearing down on Florida. The storm picking up steam in the Gulf of Mexico overnight. More than 10 million people bracing for massive rainfall. ABC News' Faith Abube is in St. Petersburg, Florida. Good morning to you, Faith.
Yeah, good morning to you, Rachel. The storm is still a ways from us here in the Tampa Bay area, but we can feel the winds intensifying and the waves getting larger and smashing into the seawall here. And now there are mandatory and voluntary evacuations along the coast as the storm system takes aim. This morning, millions in Florida bracing for impact as a newly formed storm system, Debby, rolls towards the Sunshine State. This video capturing the storm as it moved in on South Florida. The system upgraded to a tropical storm overnight and now expected to strengthen into a hurricane before slamming into Florida's Big Bend region today in the northern part of the state.
You can prepare as much as you want, and it just kind of depends on what happens.
About 10 million people in its path. Debby expected to drop 10 to 20 inches of rain in some areas, bringing fears of life-threatening flash floods and storm surges forecast to potentially be as high as 10 feet.
We are hoping that our luck holds out in that with a direct hit. But again, we have to prepare for the worst.
Workers in Jacksonville clearing potentially hazardous trees. The storm is expected to drench more than just Florida. Parts of North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia also in its path. Georgia's Governor Brian Kemp activating the state's emergency resources ahead of the storm. Back in Florida, we caught up with some residents picking up sandbags to protect their homes.
It definitely is nerve-wracking.
I feel like our vulnerable point is our front door. I know it won't prevent severe flooding if things get really bad, but at least it's something.
And Rachel, the slow-moving speed of the storm system could really do a lot of damage, dumping heavy amounts of rain on areas that really can't handle it. President Biden has been briefed on the situation. The administration says they're working with FEMA to coordinate a response. Rachel?
That area in St. Petersburg already starting to feel the impact. Faith Abube, stay safe for us out there. Thank you. And let's get right to our Samara Theodore. Samara, this storm clearly gaining strength. Where is it headed?
Directly for the west coast of Florida right now, but also impacting Georgia. More on Georgia in a moment. Tropical storm warnings have been issued from Key West to Tampa. Hurricane warnings now for the Big Bend coast near Cedar Key there. And here's what happens. Water temperatures 4 to 5 degrees above the norm for this time of year. So we're going to see this intensify very quickly to a Cat 1 storm by Monday morning by the time it makes landfall. Look at what happens with this structure here. It's hitting just north of Cedar Key, bringing heavy rain, storm surge, and wind Monday morning. By the afternoon, it drives into the Florida-Georgia coast. And then we hit Savannah and Charleston. This is really interesting. From 7 a.m. Tuesday to 7 p.m. on Tuesday, this storm just sits over the low country. So this could lead to potentially historic flooding, major impacts for both Florida and Georgia and the Carolina coastline. Will?